You got people that are leeches, that are just like leeching. There's fucking blood out of your life. Then you gotta let them go. And so, what up, it's your boy Felice.
Sorry. Hey guys.
It's actually Kini and NaNa.
I know, what did you say?
Felice.
Anyways.
What's going on?
You're catfish, that's why you have so many names.
So it's my undercover name.
So hi everyone.
So hello.
Hello.
How you been?
Good. Welcome guys to episode 12.
Episode 12.
Of Adina Drives with NaNa and Kini.
Lola's laughing. What are you laughing for, Lola? Huh? What are you laughing for?
Anyways, I don't know where our stand is, but I forgot to get it.
Alright, let's get straight into it. What are we talking about today?
Wait, can I just say, so our last episode was like a couple of weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So what happened was we actually did do another episode.
Yes, we did an episode last week?
No, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
And then it cut out, and then it was night, and then we were eating.
Yeah. We were talking while it was not recording.
We didn't really.
So is it recording now?
Yeah, it's recording.
Alright.
And then
Make sure we tell the directors and that to make sure that camera with the
Yeah, it's your try. And then Sansan got sick for like a week, and then as soon as he got better, I got sick. So, anyways, I'm still a little sick, but
have you been tested for the COVID corona?
I didn't have corona. I didn't even go anywhere. I stayed home.
Alrighty. So what are we talking about, honey?
Alright, so last episode we spoke about real versus real.
Yes.
So,
yes. Did we get any feedback? Was there any questions? Was there any comments?
Oh, there was.
Was there any interaction from our? How many subscribers do we have on YouTube?
Like 1 million.
1 million. Yeah, 1 million takeaway.
1 million.
Now, honestly, what was the question?
No. So people, so we got a few responses, and they were just like agreeing with like what we had said. I think Jax was talking about like how first what was the episode about?
We're talking about real versus real, as in Instagram. You know,
like your highlight reel versus like real life.
And people are constantly comparing themselves to other people, especially social media, you're comparing your whole life, 24/7, 24-hour life to, 15 seconds of on Instagram story or a picture that's taken someone 100 takes to be able to take that one perfect photo with
filter,
editing the photo,
lighting.
We had that experience yesterday with Gips, man. Anyways.
So that's what our video was about. And so I think Jax was talking about how like her parents raised her to like understand that.
Really?
Yeah, to understand that, but to just kind of work on yourself. And not to
understand what?
And not to cover. I don't know. I'm gonna read them.
Understand her worth?
Yeah, like understand her worth, I think is what it was.
Okay.
I'm gonna read it. 1 second, guys.
Maybe you can like put up a photo.
Of what?
Yeah, you can do that. Like if you were screen recording the one.
Anyways, we don't edit our videos. So. Oh, and by the way, we know how to edit videos. We've been doing videos since when?
2016.
2016. We just choose not to because
we're real.
And we're lazy.
Real men do real things.
Yeah, so I like Jax's response. She goes, okay. This was something my parents raised us with. It was drilled into us to never covet what others had, and to always be content and grateful with what we had, and also be happy with what others had. And I like that. Be happy with what others have. Yeah. I think it's great that you guys send this message because it's truly something I think people old and young struggle with, never compared to the point of bringing yourself down. Yeah. So I really love that. Thank you, Jax. Thank you, Jax. Yeah, I really enjoy that. By the way, Jax has a YouTube channel. It's Liz and Jax, or Jax and Liz. So
subscribe.
and go watch their videos. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that. So we spoke about like being grateful, like what Jack's mentioned, but today we wanted to kind of dive deep a little bit more on how to...
Yeah, so last episode we spoke about that it's real, it happens,
Yeah,
that people are doing it and we've experienced it.
Yeah.
That you can find yourself, if you're not too careful, you can find yourself comparing yourself to other people's life, and you need to know your worth.
You fall into this rut.
You fall into this rut, and then it's self-confidence.
It affects everything, right?
Affects everything. So what we want to talk right now, part 2, is we want to speak about or talk about what to do. What are some things that we can do to
stop that?
To stop that, yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
It's a very digital world. Like
Yeah.
you can't avoid it. It's a reality, yeah.
It's the world we live in now. And
That's
I think we touched briefly last time on just like, working on yourself, like just doing you and being grateful for what you have. But I think one specific thing we want to touch on, and it's something that I've been implementing, I think, in the past few months.
Yeah.
But something that COVID has allowed me to implement a whole lot easier is setting boundaries.
Ooh.
So
Boundaries. What do you mean by that?
What comes to mind?
Boundaries. Handball.
What? Oh, handball or boundaries. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think just like.
Yeah. So elaborate on that. Like, what are the boundaries in a game of handball?
Yeah, like just like growing up in primary school, like you have to. You can only bounce the ball, between
within the boundaries.
And if it's out, then you're out. That's basically a very simple concept.
So how can
But what do you mean? Like, why is that such a big thing? Why have you been prompted towards that word? Or I think you've said that you've had that discussion with a couple of your friends.
Yeah. So.
And how does that relate to the topic that we're talking about?
Yeah. So sometimes when you get caught up in comparing yourself, it's because you haven't filtered through what you consume. Like, you haven't set boundaries with what you're surrounded by and what you consume on social media. It comes from it's from the point of like what you consume on social media to the point of like who you surround yourself with, right? Because everything influences you. It has an impact on you, whether consciously or subconsciously. And so for me, I've had to set certain boundaries with who I follow on my socials, and then in real life, in real time.
Yeah.
So if we're comparing to like for example, a game of handball,
yeah,
like if I don't set those boundaries, then I'm gonna be out of the game. Like what happens when you get out in a game of handball? Like, how do you feel?
Yeah, you're out of the game.
Yeah, no, but how do you feel? Do you feel good that you're out?
No,
or do you
don't.
feel crappy that you're out?
Yeah, you feel crappy.
Yeah, you feel crappy. So I think the same thing applies. Like, when you don't set those boundaries for yourself, like, you start to feel crappy, you start to compare, you start to doubt yourself and your value. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for example,
so you unfollow people.
Yeah. So what do you do? Tell our viewers what your news feeds look like on your socials.
Yeah. Look, before I get into that, I think it's important first to understand, like, what is your goals? Like, what do you want? How do you filter something? You got to always start with the end in mind. Always start with the end in mind. Be clear in regards to what do you want. Like, what is it that you want? What is it that I want? What is the goal? Like,
who is it that we want to become?
Yeah, what do you want to become? What's a goal in your life? Most people don't know where they're going. So what happens is they're just driving around. Like what we're doing right now, we're just driving around, trying to figure out a way to get out of here. But people don't have a direction. They don't know where they're going. They don't have
we have an end goal. We know where we're going. So we're going to figure it out.
That's right. Like right now, I'm trying to drive to my parents' house. We have to do a detour. I'm just trying to figure out. My goal right now is just to get there, right? So like, people don't even know where they're going, first of all. And then they're not clear Like, I'm being clear in regards to, like, what do you want to achieve 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
So having goals.
having goals is important. Yeah, you need to know who you want to become.
Yeah.
Or what you want out of life. What do you want for your children? What do you want for your marriage?
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this. That's why, like, we've had discussions around what we want to achieve 5, 10 years from now. So we're like, hey, let's put out content. You know, so like, and once you know the end goal, then you reverse engineer that backwards and be like, okay, if that's what I want to become, who do I need to surround myself with? See how we're kind of putting it all together now?
Yeah.
Who do I need to surround myself with? Who do I need to be? Who do I need to follow? Who's going to motivate me? Who's going to inspire me? Who are the friends that I need to start hanging around with? Exactly.
Who adds value? Who brings out the best in me?
All right, exactly.
You know,
and if
who challenges me, but in a good way.
Exactly. Then if you got people that are leeches, that are just like leeching, there's fucking blood out of your life. Then you got to let them go. Back to what your question is. What do? I just, to be honest, I just unfollow. I don't do it out of I think that I'm better than no one. No, I do it out of my mental space. You know, like, you know, I want to be able to see what my siblings and that are doing. But there was a point in my life where I was struggling. It's not my family, it's just me. So I just unfollowed everyone on social media.
Your feeds were so boring. They still are boring.
Yeah. So my Facebook, I can't see anything. I can't see anything on my Facebook. Like, there's an option on Facebook where you can be friends with everyone, but you don't see what they're putting up. Yeah. So I have that on my Facebook, and then Instagram. I only follow.
Just started following people again. Hey?
Yeah, I only follow like people that inspire me, entrepreneurs, and just family and friends, just like
that inspire you towards what you're working.
Exactly. That's like, why
there are people that inspire you, but they just don't inspire you towards your goals and like what you're trying to achieve, right?
Exactly.
Because if you were to say that, then it's like, oh, then you're like looking down on that person over there who's trying to achieve that. But it's like, no, it's not that. It's just, I'm just going to follow those who inspire me to work hard towards achieving my goal and achieving and becoming the person that I want to become.
And that's why people tend to compare themselves to others. This is my experience. This is my personal experience. It's because they got no vision, they got no goal, they got no end goal, they don't know where they're going. So what they do is they look to feel, because what happens is when you're not heading towards your destination, you don't feel fulfilled, you don't feel happy, you don't feel like you're progressing. I really believe everyone's on
so then you start
everyone
like
we're created as humans to grow, progress. So when we're not progressing and we're stagnant, we're comfortable, then what happens is we try to look for approval in everyone else around us. We start talking caca about everyone to make us
feel better.
Exactly.
When the problem is not them and what they're putting out, or you know, or their lifestyle. Like the problem is us. Like we're not happy, we're not content with like what we're doing.
So we want to put other people down so that we can make ourselves feel good about not doing anything.
Right. Or not achieving.
Or not going out there and doing what that little voice is telling you to do, whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah, so like that's the whole purpose behind like not like you said, you know.
Setting boundaries.
Setting boundaries.
In the
like if you think about it, like
that's one way to set boundaries.
No, but when you're saying boundaries, think about it. Like if your goal is to get from Sydney to Melbourne, there is a boundary, there's a road, there's different paths that you can take. But you would want to take the best path that's going to get you from point A to point B. You know, and you're going to have to limit your boundaries, because if you don't limit your boundaries, you're going to end up in
it's going to take you longer.
Exactly, you're going to end up in Queensland. So that's what you mean by boundaries.
Yeah, that's one way of setting boundaries for yourself, to help avoid you from falling into comparing yourself to others. You know. Then another thing that I've practiced is actually setting boundaries with people. And I'm talking about like my circle. For my circle, this is my circle. But yeah, like my circle, you know, there are sometimes what's hard about setting boundaries with people is that sometimes the people you want to set boundaries with, the toxic people in your life that just don't provide value or don't uplift you or that drain you mentally are family members. And it's hard. It's hard to put your foot down and to set boundaries with family members, because they're just that, right? They're family members, right? And it's you feel wrong about doing that. But I feel like it's so important. If it's really affecting your mental health, if you're constantly being triggered, or if something that they're doing is constantly triggering you, then maybe you need to just set boundaries. And what I mean by that is space. Do you know what I mean? Space. And allow yourself to just sit where you are with that person or with that relationship, and just let it be for a season until you're ready to address it and to work through those toxic traits in your relationship, if that makes sense. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making sense.
Am I making sense?
You're making sense. I think
and it's not an easy thing.
it's not easy, but I think what you're trying to say is, I get it, you know, it's tough, especially with family and friends, you know. I think the most important thing right now, like for us, like I'm always telling this to NaNa, I'm always like, hey, your number one priority right now is for you to be, well, let me say for me, because you're probably different. For my most important priority right now is for me to be in the best state of mind to be the best father and husband. That's my first priority.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't say it like in like, oh, you know, like I'm being real. Like my number one priority right now is for me to be in this best state of mind, to be the best husband and to be the best father. That's it. Everything else comes after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything else, everything within my four walls of my own little home right now, my kids, is my number one priority.
Right.
And then everything else after that. So if there are people around me or friends or family that are affecting me in my state of mind to be the best father and husband, then hey, we, you know, like let's put some boundaries in place so that it doesn't affect us.
Yeah.
And then if it gets to
we come first.
Yeah.
Like we should, like we need to put ourselves first, because if we don't, as a couple,
yes,
and as parents,
yes,
then we can't serve our children.
Exactly.
And then we can't serve like those around us. So in a sense, by putting boundaries in, you do yourself a favor, but you also do that person a favor. Do you know what I mean? Because then they get the best version of you and not this like crappy version of you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And so sometimes you gotta let that, sometimes you gotta do that. There's someone behind us. Hi sis.
Maybe whose birthday is it?
So I feel like setting boundaries is just one way that we can help ourselves in limiting falling into that trap of comparing. Oh, did I tell you I watched Kini,
Yes.
did I tell you that I watched this
We're at a party right now.
did I tell you that I watched this video by this by one of the girls? Her name's Talia. Oh, I didn't tell you. She talked about comparing, but I like how she worded it. She talked about like comparison traps. So don't fall into that comparison trap. We'll put the link below. Go check out her video on Insta. So good. But yeah, it's in order to not fall into that comparison trap that we find ourselves in when we're comparing our real to their real. Gotta set boundaries. Do you know what I mean? Set boundaries with who you follow, like who you consume, and then in person as well. Even if no matter how hard it is, it will pay off in the long run for yourself. Amen.
But I think I just want to say this too. You don't need to apologize for being like that.
Yeah.
Like for us, you don't need to be apologize. You don't need to apologize.
I feel like I've always been that type.
Don't apologize, because like I said, your number one priority, if whoever around you loves you, if they love you and they care about you, really, really love you and care about you,
They would respect
They would respect that your number one priority is to be the best mum. and that you got some things that you need to work through, and that they need to be patient for you. You know what I mean? And this is where, you know, this is where like true love is, like family is, where, you know, it's. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you don't apologize.
Don't apologize for setting your
for
boundaries.
acting and being like that.
Yeah, but don't apologize for setting your boundaries.
Exactly.
Are you ready?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
All right.
Be unapologetically you. So,
I can name it.
fam, please comment below what is your takeaway. If you agree or disagree with us, like and subscribe. Look at our children.
Yeah, we did 20 minutes. Wow.
And
All right.
pray for NaNa because I'm still sick.
Yeah, I think we should go do a COVID-19 test for you.
No, thank you. But yeah, next week we will talk about maybe part 3 on this.
Yes.
Real versus real.
Part 3. If you guys want part 3, let us know. But I would like to hear what everyone else is saying, so we
Yeah,
can kind
what
of
are
build
you-
off that,
yeah.
create a conversation, and go from there.
Yep.
All right,
Okay,
much
all right.
love.
Say bye. Thank you for watching.